things that are going on over here as well as things that are going over there, and how they can relate to things that are going on right here. And someone told me about something called Agenda 21, which is a UN proclamation, I guess, those what they want to do for the environment. And I'll tell you, the way things are going here, it doesn't make sense for a bank to aggressively go after someone that is at least making partial payments, or making payments. But for example, I know a situation that I'm very close with. That 3 years ago there was the bank made a mistake in something that was owed, and it wasn't paid by the owners. Well, this bank happens to operate in different departments. Different departments do different things, and sometimes the other departments don't know. Sometimes they do the same thing and they don't know what the other one has done. So it started out with it was small. It was maybe like $300 or something like that. Some type of issue where something was missed, and it wasn't a whole lot. To this date, because of that mistake, and they admitted that they made the mistake, but they wouldn't correct it, saying that they should have paid it anyway. It has grown up to be almost $30,000 because of all the process servings, all the court and attorney involvements, and so on and so forth. So it went from a few hundred or several $100s, not over $1,000, I know for sure, to close to $30,000. So my point in bringing that up is that I know processors can potentially be expensive, but the thing is, we need to use them if at all possible. And we have to go back to the main issue is, these banks are crooks. They're doing this on purpose. They're taking this money, or they're taking the land because I believe that's connected with Agenda 21. And Agenda 21 is not something that's made up. It's actually, if you go to the UN websites and look at the international law that's come about, and you put up Agenda 21, I think it's still in proposal right now, proposal stage. But if they get this thing across, it does make sense for them to be doing the things the way that they're doing. Because it doesn't make sense to me for a bank not to want money, but want a non-performing asset. Because they get punished for those. They get, if a bank can get shut down if there's too many of their assets are not performing, and they're really close. They're really close to them, to that point now. So they're obviously not concerned about that danger. Why? Do they think they're protected? Do they think there's not going to be any financial as well as maybe criminal downfall or out? I have no idea, but I know those two things tend to make sense, and they seem to be headed right towards each other. So, again, if you have questions now, we can get to them. If there's people that have questions after they listen to the recording, send an email, info@don'tgiveupyourhouse.com. If you need to, get into anything that is, get into a register for the next call, you can do there, info@don'tgiveupyourhouse.com, or Nazir@don'tgiveupyourhouse.com. All right. Think there's any questions? Anything we didn't cover? You there?
Yeah. If you have any questions, you want to put it in the text box, chat box. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I can't see it. Oh, is anybody in there?
Yes.
All right. I should see any questions from in there.
Phone calls, you can just do *8, I believe. *8 to wave your hand. Let us know that you want to say something. I know
They may not have questions. That's fine too. Again, the main thing is how you come after. The points of argument, or people that are stating that foreclosures are fraudulent. They are bottom line. But also you have to be very careful too. There's a lot of people out there that know this and know that you don't know these particular things, and there's a lot of scammers out there, and that's for sure. Someone emailed me. I think there's a one that you forwarded to me, Heru, and I don't know exactly how to help her. She may be. I'll look at it as best I can. But what she did is she got some help from. She was actually gonna go into foreclosure. She hadn't missed any payments yet, but I think she was building up to the point where she knew she may miss some. And so, no, I'm sorry. They did actually start. She had already missed payments, but they hadn't started the foreclosure proceeding yet. But she knew that they were. So she hired someone, paid them a couple grand. Sent some notices over to the bank, I guess took her through an administrative process. But what they did, according to her, is they actually took control of the house and stated that if the bank, forecloses, that they're doing so improperly and that they are in fact the owners of the house. So she's going to be in for even a battle after this with the bank. She's going to be I'm sure going to be in a battle with them because she's saying now that they won't return her calls. So yeah, there are shysters out there. There are people that overcharge. They may not be shysters, but they overcharge. They think they're trying to help, but they also are looking to, score some wealth themselves or riches themselves, and they charge a 25%. Okay, we agree to save your house for you, but you're going to pay us a mortgage of $4,000 a month, or 25%, the value of 25% of your house, which requires you to refinance in order to pay it. Well, that's getting you back into the situation. I don't want to just create a business or help people off this. I want to help them realize what this banking actually is, and that's I think what should be the ultimate focus. What this banking system actually is and its effect on us. It is an impossible contract with this political body, and it is an invalid contract because of that. It should not be enforced, and it's not enforceable because it is impossible. What's this?
One of the questions, Miguel.
How to avoid foreclosure. Somebody just came in and wanted a step-by-step. Is that what that is?
Yeah, step-by-step guide, explanation on how to avoid foreclosure. I'm about to foreclose.
You there? Okay, I'm not sure if people can still hear me. Alright, I'm in the chat now, so. Can everyone hear me? Can somebody post something in the chat room?
Coming in good. Not as, usually we get all that feedback bad.
Oh, okay. I hear you. Okay, so yeah, it's all good. A step-by-step. I suggest going back to listening to this recording. But a step-by-step is, first of all, it depends on where you are. Are you in foreclosure, or are you what is this? Are you in the middle of foreclosure, or are you is the process or the foreclosure process pending? So they haven't served you yet, but you know it's going to come. If they have, if it hasn't started yet, if it hasn't commenced, then you're going to start with correspondence. You're going to inform them, and essentially, I always say send things to the CEO. The CEO is the superior respondent, which means he's the master of the organization. He's the one responsible for it. So he can't say, if you send him issue is going on, he can't say he didn't know about it. He's the one responsible for everything that goes on with the company. Okay? And as a matter of fact, they take an oath of office to it. But anyway, I would send a correspondence to him and the whoever it is that you send to the your correspondence or the representative. Send it to both. CC them that you're sending it to both, right? So that way that he knows that you have it documented, that he's aware, that you made him aware of what's going on. But of course, he doesn't handle the issues of the bank unless he sees that there isn't a major issue that can't be handled by his subordinates. So so the bottom line is that once you put him on notice, and then he receives a second one, hey, that this is still going on and hasn't stopped, then he has a duty to step in, because he's like, well, wait a minute, I thought you were able to handle this the first time. Now that I see it's still going on, why is it not handled? Why are we involved in? Why is this guy saying we're involved in fraud? Are we? He's not going to do that, though. He's just going to keep ignoring, which makes him liable. But again, the reason I say that's essential is because in many contract agreements or employment agreements, especially when they're dealing with public, corporations are getting really savvy and stating now that that the actions of the representative or the employee only represent them on certain occasions and has to qualify for these bills. In other words, they're covering themselves. Okay, yeah, I'm in the chat room, so I'm getting this. I'm seeing the what you call it now. So, question in the chat is, hey, what's up, man? In the promissory note and the mortgage docs, the lender will never say they gave the buyer a loan. In our docs, it reads the loan. Yes, that is true. But if you ask them the definition of a loan, they will not answer you. And I've done this in court, and they have not. They will not answer. They just refer back to the documents. Well, again, as we spoke earlier on the show, a loan is, in colloquial language, in colloquial English, is something that you loan out that belongs to you, or that you give to someone else on a temporary notion that they are returned to at a later date, that if they don't return it, you will receive an injury by you losing your property. That's a loan, right? That's how you can sue someone alone, because you have to have an injury. But if I give you something that was not mine, have I received an injury? So the bank never gives you anything that belongs to them. It doesn't. What they did is they exchanged the promissory note. They exchanged the currency. They bought your promissory note, then they sold it and sold it and sold it. Some people say, well, why would they do that? How would that benefit them? Well, obviously you don't know what fractional reserve is. Fractional reserve is when they get a deposit in certain accounting or certain levels. They get a deposit. They can create or loan out more money on that, off of that deposit. I should say not money, but off of that deposit, they can create more money, right, for a loan expenditure to expand the debt. So if you give them $1,000, they can actually loan out $950 now. I think it's like 0.5% that they have to keep in, or maybe 1%. If it's 1%, then they can sell. If you give them 1,000, and they have to keep 10%, then they can divvy out or loan out 900. So think about that. If a promissory note is bought by someone and they deposit it into their account and they create $300,000 off of it, and then they sell that promissory note for the value that they're allowed to someone else, then they should, if they don't sell it for $300,000, they may sell it for 10% off. So, $270, and then the same thing, another one, over and over, and they do that over and over again, right? If they do that over and over again, then they enrich themselves, because remember, the majority of money, so-called money that's in the system, is over 96% of it is credit, is electronic. All right, so wait a minute. All right, a loan, this loan, they never say they gave you a loan. No, it says for a loan that you have received. But that's why they never sign anything, and that's why it's deemed to be yours. It reason reason away. Hey Charles, it reason away that they state that you agree to these things and that you are stating those things, not that they are stating them and that you agree with them. Also, in court, you may want to tell everyone here that they must stick to facts to their particular situation. Yes, exactly, and this is what we talked about earlier. You have to stay on point. You have to very much stay on point, and that's what the attorneys are going to do. They are going to do their best to get you off target, off the off the subject. Let's see. Such as I'm doing this because they are stealing money from me and my children. No, you can't go into court, and this is another thing that we talked about. Courts, there's a different language that's used in court, a different way of doing things completely. There's a different language that's used. There's a different demeanor that people hold, and when you're deemed not to have that demeanor, they consider you incompetent. And if you refuse to get an attorney, they help you further incompetent. And it's like, again, like we talked about before, they know that you're going to lose because you don't know the rules of the game, right? You don't know the rules of the game, so he can see that regardless of whether you're right or wrong, he sees you're going to lose because you're not